mere days before Donald Trump takes charge as the U.S. President.
President of the United States.
The Prime Minister of neighbouring Canada, Justin Trudeau, has announced his resignation.
And it has become obvious to me with the internal battles that I cannot be the one to carry the Liberal standard into the next election.
The move came after weeks of acrimony between the two leaders, with Trump openly threatening and Trudeau meekly resisting. The Canadian PM's latest surprise announcement elicited a mocking reaction from the incoming American president. As Canada is plunged into political chaos, the question is Trump the real cause of Trudeau's embarrassing ouster? Justin Trudeau on January 6 announced his exit as the Canadian Premier amid a raft of internal and external challenges. The biggest external hurdle for Trudeau was the imminent presidency of Donald Trump. Ever since his election victory in November, Trump was gunning for Canada in general, and Trudeau in specific. This is not the first time that Trump and Trudeau found themselves at loggerheads with each other. Even during Trump's first tenure, the US and Canada clashed over cross-border trade. Back then, Trudeau was believed to have emerged successfully from the Trump gauntlet. In 2020, Canada, US, and Mexico negotiated a fresh trade deal called the USMCA, which replaced the quarter-century-old NAFTA. In his second term, Trump threatened a massive 25% tariff on all goods entering the US from Canada, and a few other nations. The US president-elect said that Canada must control the flow of drugs and illegal immigrants from its territory into the US to escape the punishing tariffs. Trump escalated the fight by saying that Canada should become USA's 51st state. He even started publicly referring to Trudeau as governor of the great state of Canada, suggesting that the annexation had already occurred. Trump's tariff threat spooked Canadian businesses. Meanwhile, Trudeau was seen as being soft in defending Canadian interests and sovereignty.
First of all, let's not kid ourselves any way, shape, or form. 25% tariffs on everything going to the United States would be devastating for the Canadian economy. It would require us to pull together and support each other and hang in there to prevent just horrific losses in all of our communities for everyone. They would also, however, mean real hardship for Americans as well. Americans import 65% of their crude oil from Canada, significant amounts of electricity, just about all the natural gas exported from Canada goes to the United States. They rely on us for steel and aluminum. They rely on us for a range of agricultural imports. All of those things would get more expensive. Now, for years, Americans have been paying more for their homes than they should because of unjust tariffs on softwood lumber. Maybe this level of tariffs will actually have them realize that this is something they are doing to themselves. And President-elect Trump got elected on a commitment to make life better and more affordable for Americans. And I think people south of the border are beginning to wake up to the reality that tariffs on everything from Canada would make life a lot more expensive for Americans.
After Trudeau announced his exit, Trump tightened the screws instead of letting up. Just hours after Trudeau's press conference, Trump posted a message on his social media platform Truth Social. Trump said many people in Canada would love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat. Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned. If Canada merged with the US, there would be no tariffs, taxes would go way down, and they would be totally secure from the threat of the Russian and Chinese ships that are constantly surrounding them. Together, what a great nation it would be.
It doesn't so much that the Canadian leader or U.S. president have to get along or need to get along. I mean, they kind of have to get along because the relationship's so integrated. But certainly, I think, and Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader, may want to keep somewhat of a distance from Trump because Trump is not popular in Canada. But certainly Trudeau is widely unpopular, and the Conservatives are poised, according to the polls, win a big majority in the next election.
Another external issue which tarnished Trudeau's image was his tussle with India. In September 2023, Trudeau stood in the Canadian Parliament and accused Indian government officials of being involved in the killing of pro-Khalistan terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was shot dead outside a Gurudwara in Canada a few months earlier. India called the allegation baseless and demanded evidence, which Trudeau failed to provide. Instead, Ottawa tried to interrogate Indian diplomats as persons of interest in the Nijjar case. Subsequently, Delhi expelled 6 Canadian diplomats and recalled its envoy from Ottawa. The Indian government openly warned Trudeau against indulging in such dangerous vote bank politics. The gambit may have backfired on Trudeau, given that Canada is a major destination for Indian expatriates. The controversy may have been engineered by Trudeau to divert Canadians' attention from massive economic troubles at home. The Canadian dollar has been falling since September 2024. The country has reportedly been struggling with slowing growth, high inflation, stagnant GDP, and out-of-control housing prices. Trudeau's economic challenges began in the post-COVID period, when prices of groceries and housing skyrocketed, and the government failed to bring them under control. The growing anger against Trudeau was captured in surveys and polls and sparked the rebellion against him in his own party. An Ipsos Canada poll in December said the opposition Conservative Party has 45% support, while the ruling Liberal Party and the left-leaning New Democrats have 20% popular support each, thus predicting a crushing defeat for Trudeau. The chorus against Trudeau's leadership has slowly been growing. Recently, 20 Liberal Party MPs reportedly signed a petition demanding his resignation. The party also lost 2 supposed safe seats in 2024. The final nail in Trudeau's political coffin is believed to have been the resignation of Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland. The former close ally of Trudeau accused him of costly political gimmicks in her departure letter.
Justin Trudeau has been Prime Minister for nearly a decade now, and the average shelf life of a Canadian Prime Minister is about 10 years. He's widely unpopular in Canada. As many incumbent leaders are across the world, post-COVID, inflation times. And I think Canadians have started to tune them out, or have been for the last few years in particular. So there is a wide clamoring in the country for a new prime minister.
For now, Trudeau will continue as caretaker prime minister until his party chooses a new leader. According to Canada's legislature, the ruling party has 90 days from the date of resignation of its leader to find a replacement. Canada will go to polls later this year and must have a new government before October 20th. But Trudeau's troubles are not over. The opposition may still be planning to introduce a no-confidence motion in Parliament to force collapse of the Liberal Party government, with or without Trudeau at the helm.
The Conservatives are widely expected to take power in the spring election. They're way ahead in the polls. Even if the Liberals have a new leader, and a lot of analysts believe that they won't stand a chance in terms of remaining in power. It's a question of, can a new leader like Mark Carney, who is the former Bank of England governor and also the head of the Canada Central Bank, can he keep the Conservatives to a minority parliament, perhaps? The polls don't suggest that that's likely. Certainly the Liberals are facing what could be an historic defeat. In the next 2 months, the Liberals will decide who will go up against Pierre Poilievre, who is the likely next prime minister. He is way ahead of the polls. And after 10 years of Liberal rule, Canadians may shift towards the right and elect a Conservative government.